The Spot on SoFloRadio.com. Bitches.
All right, y'all. This is The Spot Discussions with the lovely, the beautiful, selfie taking.
You need a selfie
That's
stick.
me. Nah, I do good.
Hey,
I do good.
I actually saw that, and that is, they need to stop.
You know, it's so crazy. I have a friend, and he's been using the selfie stick, and I just really want to send him a text. It's like it's a stick you put, and then you extend it. So you know, sometimes you can't get the right angle, so you just move the stick, and they'll get it for you.
Listen, May take pictures, and you don't even know she holding the camera.
You might need that selfie stick.
I don't even need it. I don't even need it.
But
Listen, I got the selfies on lock.
I can't do it.
I don't take
My mom
selfies
is
a lot,
calling.
but I may need it.
You better text and let her know you at the spot. Hey, mom.
Yeah.
But we're definitely honored to have you here again, and want to thank you for being a guest. I'm making it
Listen,
sound like this is the end.
Listen, I'm happy to be here. I'm definitely happy to be here. I'm honored to be here to talk about my work.
Well, my first question will ask you, like, as we asked before, what was behind or the motivation of the making the book itself, The Sound of Silence. But what initially got you to start wanting to write, period?
Initially, my first introduction to poetry was in elementary school. I kind of fell in love with it at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Just reading poetry of people that looked just like me. It wasn't fictional people. It was Langston Hughes.
Right.
I mean, Maya
James
Angelou.
Baldwin.
Yeah, and just when I got introduced to poetry, it really blew my mind. I mean, memorizing it, I would be in all the little oratorical contests and all of that. So I fell in love with it at that point. I didn't know that I would move into actually writing for myself and then moving into spoken word, where I wanted to share it, over the mic with other people. I didn't know that was gonna go down for a long time. So first spoken word, open mic night, was at Love Jones in Miami. Love
MVP.
Jones Revived, MVP.
Right.
So, my cousin called me like, yo, you still got your book of rhymes? I'm like, yeah. She like, man, you got to try this spot. Like, I'm like, what they do? They look at your stuff. What they do?
Right.
She was like, nah, you could read it on the mic. I'm like, word? And that was my first experience. I got up there, and read my poetry, and it was received so well. And I fell in love with it at that point. I was like, man, this stuff, I got to get this off my chest. I can't keep this in my journal no more. So that was definitely a big part of it. And as far as writing this book, this being my second book, I started to have some experiences, and this book kind of wrote itself. I went through a period where poetry was just pouring out of me every other day. It was full poems, and sometimes, it may take you a month to get all your little editing, get the glitches out, or to say these poems would come in every night. So I would wake up out of my sleep and just write. And I knew that something amazing was happening at that moment. I didn't know what, but I knew something was going on. My favorite poem in the book, my absolute favorite, surprisingly, would have to be the first poem, which is that's kind of rare. Usually you put your favorite somewhere in the middle,
right?
But as I was organizing where I wanted everything, I was like, I need to say this first because I think that it described me the best. It's a haiku called Scars.
Okay.
And it says, born adventurous, used to skate with no knee pads, but scars change people. That sums me up right there. I think that character is shaped through adversity. It builds character when you go through the hurt and the pain, and we're kind of like flowers, humans. We don't know that we can survive the storm until it's over, and you look up and realize that you're still standing. So that's what Scars is all about, and that's what my life is all about.
Get from reading your book of poems?
I think more so than just getting me,
Mm-hmm.
I think they can get themselves. You know, they can be liberated in the fact that somebody else has been through it and come through it. You know, a lot of people say, I've been through a lot. I like to say I've come through a lot, you know, because survival is important for a woman. It's important for Black folks in America, period, you know, to know that, like, we feel each other's pain. It's time for us to unify on all these different issues, even on the issues of love. You know, as friends, we got to start building each other up and, you know, letting each other know, like, listen, you're going to get through this because it's been done before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would address a lot of social issues that we have. You know, we can make it through this. We can make it through teen suicide. We got to start listening to our kids. We got to start submerging ourselves. People don't want to be friends with their kids. You know, my kids are like my best friends. You know, they're two of my best friends, and they know it too. You know, so I think all of these issues will not go away, but we'll learn how to cope with them if we learn how to address them and submerge ourselves. You know, we got to get in the paint.
Right.
You know, we want to call the plays from the sideline. You know what I'm saying? But we got to start to get in the paint and really deal with these issues. So that's what this book is about.
Well, a good distraction that we got going on here is The Sound of Silence.
Definitely.
And it's I imagine, because Dree got on me, she was like, where's my copy? I want my copy. And that skin deep is something that I look forward to checking out.
Definitely.
Now, is this something that you'll be doing a live performance with, or is how you go about that?
At some point I will do, you know, I do also spoken word. I mean, I've done book signings throughout the city. I'm about to start traveling a lot more once it warms up a little bit, because I hate the cold.
You and me both. High five on that.
High five on that.
Seriously.
No, I don't like the cold. So when it warms up a little bit, then I'll go a little further north with the project and do some live performances. Definitely.
Now, what would you say, since you do both, what would you say is something that you take, like, just does it for you? Is it the performing or the actual writing itself?
I mean, I love performing. You know, I love performing. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But the writing is like, it's like a high for me. It's like a high. I mean, sometimes I have a poem in me and it needs to get out so bad that I'm shaking until I can find something to write that down. I'm not a freestyle poet. So I do love writing it down, getting in my phone and my notepad, or however I can record it and get it done. So I think that, you know, everybody expresses their art form differently.
Okay.
You know, some people write it out, some people freestyle it, some people want to, you know, they need to get on a mic and do it. You know, some people do CDs, some people do books. It's all poetry, and I love all aspects of it. I don't think any form of it is any better than the other. I think that all of the forms just are unified under that umbrella.
You come up with the title "Sound of Silence"?
The Sound of Silence. I came up with that title because most of these poems, for some reason, were coming to me in the middle of the night, and it was just silent. But I also realized that all of the noise that I was dealing with in my life, you know, all of the noise of my history, my past and everything, it just came to me in the form of silence. It was clarified. You know, it was like those moments of clarity. It's like, wow, silence is a really big sound. You know, it's really, if you ever laid there in your bed silent, alone, and had to reflect on everything, you'll see how noisy it can really be.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so silence to me sounds like truth.
That's true. Now, I'm sure this is not your last stop as far as writing a book. What other projects are you working on that we could look forward to?
I also make soy candles. So a lot of people have heard about that company that I have going on called Moonflower Candles. It has its own page on Instagram as well. Like I said, the live performances, you know, I did a signing in the Bahamas. It went really well, so I want to get back over there
I need to be part of your tour.
I,
For real.
I booked a show today for May to be in New York. Yesterday I booked for April to be in Seattle, Washington. And I mean, between me and GS Cole, you know, if I don't have anything going on, GS got a whole schedule for me. Like, you know, February this day, we gonna be at such and such. So that's my brother. He supports me in everything. And that's just like, I mean, it's rare, you know, to have that type of support system. So I love him to death. He came today, you know, I was like, man, I'm gonna be by myself. He was like, nah, I'm over here. I'm like,
I got off work and stayed in the area.
yeah, I'm like, that's my brother.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, you know, we got a lot of things going on in the community. If people check out my Facebook page, I always try to share where I'm gonna be. But I mean, we about to get out here, you know, and do this thing and take poetry to a whole nother level.
That's really good. So are you working on any other books?
I am working on a couple other books. I'm working on a children's story that I'm about to release soon called Look at Me. That's about a little black girl, you know, just celebrating her skin color, you know, because I think we need that. Our children need to see that a lot more.
I do agree, because I feel like growing up, I never really saw anything that looked like me. So especially when you're younger, you're buying Barbies and stuff.
Exactly.
They didn't really have Barbies and stuff that really
looked like
us.
us.
They did. Those wasn't the dolls that was pushing the front.
They just didn't look
and
like
I had my hair was huge, big, curly hair, and I wanted it straight so bad because of what was out there. And I feel like a lot of kids now, children, they don't have books. Like growing up, Disney had
everything,
a whole list of bookshelf of books, and I used to go to Winn-Dixie and get all the
remember that.
But you know, it's so sad. Kids are not experiencing that.
Nah, they're not.
They don't know what it feels like to pick up a children's book and read and actually have those memories. So I think that's important.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm working on releasing that in between. And my next major book project also will be called Girl, We Need to Talk. And that is a book for the habitually brokenhearted. To see, like, you know, what's going on, what are our patterns, what's happening here. You know, we know, you know, people are writing books how to meet the perfect guy, how to snag the perfect guy, you know, wait 90 days. And I mean,
it don't work.
It don't work at all.
Let y'all know that don't work. Don't try
the bottom line is, if you make a bad choice today, even if he can mask those red flags for 90 days, you still with the same scumbag.
Exactly. I don't believe in that, though. When I heard that you should wait 90, I don't think you should put a time on whoever you meet. Or I don't think there's no rules to love.
Man, listen.
Hold on. Before you say what you got to say, one of the realest quotes I've heard came from this woman's mouth. We were having a private conversation, and she said something that just always stuck with me. She said, you can't stop a hard dick and some warm pussy. You can't stop it. So that's why I say the 90-day rule will not work, because if the attraction, and by the way, this is not the he say versus she say show, but this is the internet. We can say whatever we want, like
access denied,
all type of noises and all that. But yeah, that was probably one of the realest quotes I've heard. She has many of them, but you know, I just wanted to say that.
That's amazing, because that was years ago, right?
Yes. That's
wow. I can't say that there are any rules necessarily to love, but what I can say is consistency is the one thing that you cannot mask. You can mask a lot of things, but you cannot mask consistency. And that is the thing that I actually look for. If I'm gonna, you know, date you, deal with you, and all this kind of stuff, listen, your ass is in the friend zone for a very long time. And a part of that is because people get tired of the chase, in which I'm not trying to, you know, I say it all the time, you know, listen, I'm not playing hard to get. I am hard to get. This ain't a game. You know what I'm saying? This ain't a game for me. So, I mean, and I'm not the baddest out there. I mean, I see some women out there. I'm like, damn. You know, there's some Amber Roses out there. But at the same time, it's always going to be more attractive to be solid in who you are, to love yourself. And I don't mean, just loving your name. That's who your mom called you. So, you think you cute and that's loving yourself. Self-love goes so much deeper than that. And I think when we get to that point, when sisters start really loving themselves, they're going to raise the bar for themselves, their men or their women, and their children. I think women have the ability to change this world just by loving themselves, by understanding the impact that we carry as a woman, as somebody that can bring forth life. You know what I'm saying? You carry nations in your womb. That's so powerful. That ain't just you being able to put on some red bottoms and go to the club. That is major.
When it's all said and done for May Rain. Like, you just getting started. I don't want to make it sound like you terminal or nothing like that, but what's the lasting effect you want to leave?
You know what? I haven't gotten to that point yet. I hear a lot of people talk about what legacy they want to leave. I haven't fully discovered who I will be yet. I'm extremely happy with where I am, but it's so much more to be done. I know that I want to leave a lasting effect on literacy in my community. I want to make changes. I want to make noticeable changes, not just in the forefront for the fashion fair.
Right.
I want to make noticeable changes in literacy. I want people to band together and really take this fight on, because Florida is suffering in a major way. When I'm talking to young ladies at this point and they have paperwork to fill out, like Kanye say, they throwing contracts at me and niggas can't read. And that's deep, because it's true. It's offensive, but it's true.
Right.
We really are suffering as far as literacy. And I really want to make those changes. When I want people to pick up my book and have it to have the same effect on them, as when I picked up the book of a black poet. When I picked up Maya Angelou's book for the first time, and I'm like, what? Phenomenal woman. That's me. And when you read those things out loud, and these become affirmations,
right?
You become more powerful, through what you read and what you
I like
believe.
to leave that with every guest, with especially somebody in the arts, where you're creating something that I would hope outlasts you, much like it did for Langston Hughes, James Baldwin, and everybody from that Renaissance era, Maya Angelou. They did something that our children, not only us, but their children will be reading it, much like lifetime. So that's something that I always like to say, what do you leave behind? But we thank you for coming by. We could have went longer because we, got so many topics that we could talk about. But please check out the lovely sister May Rain and her book, The Sound of Silence.
Definitely. Follow me on Facebook, May Rain, MAY space REIGN, on Twitter, May Rain the Poet. That's one word. And on Instagram, May Rain the Poet. One word. Appreciate y'all.
All right. This has been The Spot right here on SoulFlowRadio.com, where you can catch all and any episode right here, or you can catch us on SoundCloud under This Is The Spot. And, of course, you can see us on YouTube and check out any recent episodes that we have posted here. This has definitely been The Spot, and we thank you for checking us out right here on SoulFlowRadio.com.